about the same time. But these people are yelling. And again, they're not teenagers. They're not young 20s who don't know better. These are 50 and 60-year-olds who should have learned in kindergarten.
Right.
Be kind to one another. Wait your turn. Don't get hostile over McDonald's. But it happens. We see it every day. Literally every day. You've seen people who get upset over things that they really shouldn't be upset over. I mean, in my business, and what I deal with every day, that's a good time for people to be upset. Not necessarily to be angry, but that's a good thing if you're going to have a reason to cry, that's a good time to cry. When you're standing in line at McDonald's, and I'm seeing it wasn't just this one lady's face that was red. There was a man in the car. I thought there is going to be a fist fight, an all-out brawl between these 50 and 60-year-olds in the drive-thru. Luckily, my car was in front of them, and man, I was thinking, how quick am I going to be able to get my phone and capture this and put this thing on YouTube? Because people are going to want to see these 50 and 60-year-olds duking it out in line at McDonald's. I would watch that again and again and again, share it with everybody. Oh boy. Just a little bit of kindness goes a long way.
Amen.
A missionary returning after serving many years in the jungles of New Guinea was asked, "What was it like? Tell us what you found there." Found? He said, "I found a mission field that looked more hopeless than if I had been sent to a jungle of tigers." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "The people there were so fierce and degraded that they seemed utterly devoid of any moral sense. If a mother were carrying her little baby and the child was crying and wouldn't stop, she'd throw it in the ditch and let it die. If a man saw his own father break his leg, he would just leave him there to suffer. They had absolutely no compassion, whatsoever. They didn't even know what the word meant. Well, what were you able to do?" Someone said. "Were you able to preach to them?" He said, "No, not at first. I thought it better to show them my faith by my works." Interesting thought. "When I saw a baby crying, I picked it up and I consoled it. When I saw a man with a broken leg, I sought to mend it. When I found people distressed and hungry, I took them in, comforted them, and fed them. Finally, they began to ask, 'What does this mean? Why are you doing all this for us?' Then I had a chance. I told them about Jesus, and many came to know and love him too." He said it all summed up in one verse: be kind to one another,
right,
because God has been kind to us.
Right, amen.
It's amazing how many times we want to invite people to church. I'd like you to come to church, because you need to really change your ways, and you really should be wearing more appropriate clothing, and you shouldn't be doing this, and you really should do that. And we're real quick to tell people how they should live their lives and what they should get rid of. And what God has really just called us to do is to love and to be kind.
Right. I like it. Amen.
I'm talking about simple, everyday acts of kindness. Anyone here, I'm going to ask you a little involvement, anyone here ever have somebody cook them a meal and bring it to your house?
Yes.
Show me your hands real quick, we got time. Okay, so you've seen some hands went up here today. But you know what else I noticed? Guess what? There were some hands that didn't go up today. And some of these people might be, 50, 60, 70 years old. Think of that. Somebody should cook them a meal and take it to their house. It's just a small act of kindness. It's real simple. Have you ever had your meal paid for? Now, I just told you the bad thought about McDonald's. I was driving through one day, and I didn't have my muffin. I just had my Diet Coke, which I know I still shouldn't have, but I had my Diet Coke. And somebody said, "Hey, the person in front of you paid for your meal." I was thinking, man, I should have ordered my muffin. Was it too late? It was actually Brother Hopper, from over at Potter's house. Paid for my Diet Coke. And if I knew it was him, I definitely would have ordered a muffin. Anyone ever brought you flowers, but they weren't your spouse? Raise your hand. Let me tell you about somebody that's really special. Anybody know the history behind May Day, where you bring flowers to a cemetery and it kind of captures that out with the old and in with the new, and it's springtime and there's freshness? For years, flowers showed up on my dad's grave. You didn't put them there. I didn't put them there. and was working at the cemetery one day and drove in and there were flowers there. I was thinking, what woman's leaving flowers at my dad's grave? Looked around and there were some others that were buried there that I knew, and there were flowers on their graves. Every May Day, this person, when able, would take flowers out to the cemeteries, drive from place to place, and place them on people's headstones. She never told anybody. She never said, did you see the flowers I placed? Just an act of kindness. I don't think my dad knew. I'm not one of those people that think, that he, oh, thank you for taking, I don't think that necessarily happens. As a matter of fact, some of us that don't go to the cemetery regularly might not have known either. I know there were flowers placed on graves that nobody ever even went to. It was just an act of kindness. Yes. Did it cost them a few bucks? Yeah. Cost them some time? Most definitely. It's a simple act of kindness. Anybody got a clue who it was?
I know.
Who was it?
Oh, you know.
Marty Force.
I only do May Day.
May Day, that's what I was talking about. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, May Day. That she does it on May Day. When able. How incredible. What a gift. What a great act of kindness.
Very nice.
I even put one on the German POWs that were buried at the cemetery every year. Pick a one I don't even know. I just put one in front of theirs because they were in the war too.
It's pretty incredible.
They were in the war.
It's pretty incredible. How many have offered you to carry something for them? You're getting out of the car and you've got a bunch of stuff and somebody says, can I help you carry that? Isn't that a nice feeling when somebody says that? I was at Lowe's the other day getting ready for this open house and I had about 12 bags of mulch and a young kid came out and he says, sir, can I help you load these? I hate when they call me sir. I feel like I'm, much older. He says, sir, can I help you load these? I said, you could, but I've got a quick question for you. Who's going to unload them when I get to the house? He says, probably you. And I said, well, then I might as well just go ahead and load them up now. I'm going to have to unload them when I get to the house. But just the fact that he came and he offered. Nobody sent the kid out there. He just happened to be walking by and said, hey, can I help you load these? I think those are great things that are kind. You ever gotten into a parking spot and somebody's coming from one way, you're coming from another, and it's that awkward feeling of who should take this parking spot? And you're kind of like, I really wanted it. I've been circling around, and this is number 4, and the other one is spot number 8. I was kind of hoping to take spot number 4 because it's closer to the door, but yet I'm going to walk around Walmart for an hour and a half, so I don't know why I care about being on space number 4. But you get that awkward feeling of who should take that space, and somebody looks at you and says, go ahead, you take it. I would say, no. I want to be the one that gives you the space. Makes me feel better. You take it. But it's too late. They've already kind of driven by. They're like, go ahead, you take it. Like, oh, now I don't want it. Ever had somebody mow your lawn? Yeah. Show up and mow your grass?
Right.
That's my man.
Unannounced. Didn't tell you, didn't say anything?
Right.
I can tell you a great story. My father-in-law had been out of church for many years, and most of you know this story, but had been out of church for many years, most of the time that I was a part of the family. And Brother Flurry was coming to our church and asked about it. I heard your mother-in-law ask about prayer for him, and what's the story? So I gave him a little bit of a background story and said, you should go over and visit him sometime. He had some health issues as of recent, and so Pastor agreed he would go over and just pay him a visit. They sat, chit-chatted for a little bit, and then I got a call from my father-in-law. And at first he wasn't real happy, and I had never really gotten much of a call like that from him. And I thought, I'm not sure where this is going to go. And he says, so this guy comes over and he's, from church, and he's talking all this stuff, and he basically knows everything that's happened to me, everything that I've been through, all the bad stuff I've done, because he's telling me he's done all this stuff too. Is he just trying to make me feel better or what? No, I don't think so. I didn't tell him anything. Maybe your wife did. I didn't tell him anything. That's deflect, Check with your wife. Maybe she hadn't either. Yeah. Brother Flurry just began to share his own life and his own story, and it opened up a door. A few days later, because of the health issues my father-in-law had at the time, he called me back again. Man, this dude has lost his mind. What dude has lost his mind? That preacher dude. What makes you think he's lost his mind? He just drove by my window on my lawnmower. Is he mowing the grass or stealing your lawnmower? I said, he's mowing the grass. I'm like, wow. He's like, why would he do that? It's like, I had no idea. I guess it's just who he is. Because of that friendship, because of the relationship he built, because of his kindness, it reopened the door on maybe some bitter wounds that had been there from years gone by, and things that might have happened in the church that might have seared that heart or closed that door. It reopened, it reconnected.
Right.
And his name is written in the Lamb, no doubt in my mind, his name is written in the Lamb's Book of Life. And someday, Brother Flurry gets an extra jewel on his crown for his act of kindness.
Right.
Sitting and talking, mowing the yard, extending a hand of friendship. You'd think if he walked into my father-in-law and said, hey, your health is not real good, you probably need to make things right. Now's probably a good time for you to pray. Well, I tell you why all these bad things are happening to you, because you're not serving God. Well, really? I've grown up in church and seen a lot of bad things happen to good people who are serving God.
Right. Right.
It
Right.
happens.
Right.
I'm just grateful we have God when bad things happen.
Right.
I don't know how people get through things that
Right.
don't happen.
Right.
It wouldn't have worked. It was these simple acts of kindness.
Praise God.
Filled your car with gasoline. Anybody ever had that happen? I've had that
Yes.
happen. Somebody paid for my gas one day. I drive a pretty good car. I don't know if they thought I was having a bad day or what, but they were like, hey, your gas is all paid for. It's like, I'm glad I filled up. Well, we did it, but anybody just simply encouraged you at some point, just gave you the encouragement to let you know you could keep moving, things are going to get better, keep going. There's millions of examples out there. You're probably thinking in your mind your own things that have happened to you where people showed kindness. The second part of that verse says, be compassionate one to another. The word compassion simply means feelings become a part of life, and I begin to share and understand what you feel and what is going on inside of you. Compassion. I'm amazed sometimes by church people, and I'd say this if Brother Fleur was standing here, and I put in here quotes, church people. I'm amazed sometimes by church people who say things that are like, where were the parents while this 2-year-old was attacked by an alligator? Where were they? Why were they letting him swim in a place where it said no swimming? Have we, of all people, not had enough compassion where we can simply look at a situation and say, how heartbreaking that this 2-year-old, I think about somebody the size of Brady, and he's standing there in the ankle deep in water on a beach. Mind you, there's sand there. I know there's no swimming side. There's a beach and sand. There are chairs, lounge chairs laid out there. And his dad's got this kid by the hand, and he's splashing in the water. And in an instant, an alligator comes up, grabs him, pulls him down, and the dad fights for all he can to save his little boy. And the mother standing there screaming in hysterics. Both of them saw this, watched it unfold, and watched it happen. And how easy it is for us to sit behind a computer or behind our phone and make a comment. Where's our compassion? If the church has lost compassion, where do we go from here?